The world can be a pretty scary place right now, and it's easy to get overwhelmed with fear and stress. I'm going to share 7 different ways that you can find more peace in your life right now. Welcome to the Living with a Wild Heart channel, where you can learn about ecotherapy and how to live a more natural life. And for those of you who are new here, my name is Justin Wildheart, and while we're in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, many people are feeling like they're stuck at home, and maybe they're also feeling like they're vulnerable and exposed at work, which can create a lot of stress in people's lives. And today we're going to share about 7 different tips to reduce that stress and bring more peace into your life. But before I go into those activities, I just want to say it's important to take proper precautions. Looking at the guidelines from the CDC, state and local authorities, right now it's April, and some of those different guidelines include social distancing, not gathering in groups, staying at home, laying low, washing your hands frequently, particularly if you touch different surfaces out in the world. These are just some of the precautions right now that can help you from getting COVID-19. Now, symptoms of COVID-19 include having a fever above 100 degrees, having a cough, maybe even a sore throat, and feeling fatigued and tired, and sometimes having difficulty breathing. If you feel any of these symptoms, it's important that you contact your health provider immediately. Back to the 7 things. So the first thing on the list is to stay informed. And the CDC website has a lot of great information talking about the coronavirus and the COVID-19 disease. And learning about those things can help you to arm yourself with the information that you need to keep yourself safe. Now, this may seem a little paradoxical that going to a media site and immersing yourself in learning about the disease maybe might make you feel, or you would think, feel a little bit more afraid. But it actually has the opposite effect. When you understand what can hurt you, when you understand how to keep yourself safe, you can then step back into some degree of control into your life. Now, the other important thing is not to immerse yourself in too much media. It's good to stay up to date, but if you immerse yourself too much into those, you may find yourself becoming overwhelmed. And so it's very important to regulate the amount of media that you're taking in and make sure that it is of a really good source that helps you to understand what's going on and how to respond to COVID-19. Tip 2 is to hold the ones you love and that you live with. Ever since we were children, when we were crying, our parents would pick us up and hold us. And just the act of being held in our parents' arms helped us to regulate our anxiety, our heart rate, our breathing, and to calm down and to return to a state of peace. And that's something that we can offer to each other. It's not something just for children, but when we hold our loved ones in our arms, it creates a sense of peace. Oxytocin levels in the blood rise, creating that sense of well-being, reducing feelings of stress, anxiety, depression, and even boosting the immune system. Physical touch in this time is very important. However, it should be done with people within your household. Again, I just want to stress that you have to really judge the risk here, and this should be with people who you normally can't socially distance yourself from. Now, if you don't have a partner or children, don't worry. A pet also works. Research says that holding your pet, snuggling, cuddling, petting your pet will also bring these effects to you. Now, tip number 3 is also a big one, and it's laughter. Just like snuggling and cuddling, laughter raises oxytocin levels in the blood, so you get a similar effect where the stress reduces, where feelings of depression and anxiety also reduce, and you also have these wonderful effects of increased healing, better immune system, all these effects that come when the cortisol levels in our blood diminish, and that comes with a spike in oxytocin. Laughter is very, very important in these times, and many of us have a lot of time to watch movies, and in your selection process, I'm going to recommend that you pick a few comedies. Now, the next step is to do something meaningful. Many of us have a lot more free time on our hands, and we can get bored pretty easily. And when we're bored, we can ruminate pretty easily on the things that scare us or financial stress in our lives. And so by immersing ourselves in doing the things that we didn't get a chance to do at other times in our life, maybe it's picking up that musical instrument that you wanted to learn how to play. Maybe it's doing some experiments in the kitchen, learning how to ferment some foods for the first time, or cooking something that you've never done before, learning how to bake. Maybe it's more meaningful work too. It could be writing a book. I started to work on a manuscript for a book with some of the free time that I had on my hands. It could be anything. Whatever it is that makes your heart sing. This is a time that is unlike other times in our lives. It's not every day that our global economy slows down to almost a halt. And in that time, we may have time to explore and learn more about ourselves. When we follow our life of meaning, when we follow that thread, it helps us find purpose. As we find purpose, joy and fulfillment can come into our lives. And when we live a life with joy and fulfillment, when rocky times come, we can still find our own sense of meaning through that. And our purpose ends up being like a ballast in a ship. The weight on the bottom helps it to stay afloat and to stay balanced even in the rough waters of life. Tip 5 is to do some aerobic exercise. Go for a run or a jog or a walk. Or do some aerobic exercise at home. Exercise boosts the immune system, is great for the health and body, and also takes your mind off of stress and worry. It's something good that you can do for yourself, maybe when it feels like you don't have control in other areas of your life. Number 6, while we're all practicing social distancing, it's important to stay connected with your friends and family. As human beings, we're social creatures. We need other beings to survive and to thrive. When we get lonely, it has a variety of negative health effects, including anxiety, depression, loss of health. And so using the technology that's available to us, it's important to reach out to our friends and to our family right now, more than ever, to stay connected with people. People are even going to yoga classes and other kinds of classes online through video conferencing platforms where you could see everyone, you can see your teacher. It's important to stay connected to that kind of community and that kind of wellness. So use the technology that's available for you. For me, I create a list of different friends and relations who I communicate with regularly, giving them phone calls or video chatting with them. And that's been really helpful for me to stay connected and to feel that I'm still part of that tribe. Number 7, get outside into nature. So if you're feeling stuck inside, nature can be a great healer. Nature relieves symptoms of depression and anxiety. Nature reduces stress. And nature is also great for mental wellness in general and also physical health. So if you're feeling cooped up inside and don't know what to do, then get out on the trails and go for a hike. And if hiking's not your thing, then you might want to check out my natural meditation video about the sit spot, about how just sitting in nature is a way that you can connect to the natural world and get those same health effects that you would from going for a hike. Now, I know I said 7, but I actually have an 8th tip for you. If you find that you're in a lot of mental distress right now and that these tips are not enough to support you, I encourage you to find a therapist. Therapists right now, many of them are using online conferencing platforms so that you can have your session with your therapist on a video chat. And so if you feel like you need the support, I really encourage you to reach out and find a therapist. Hopefully this video gives you some ideas of what you can do to help reduce the stress and anxiety you might be feeling right now. This pandemic will end at some point, but between now and then, it's really important that we take care of ourselves and we take care of each other. If you try some of these activities out, or if you have some of your own coping strategies that work for you in dealing with COVID-19 and this coronavirus, then let me know in the comments section. If you found these tips of cultivating calmness and mental wellness helpful, then consider subscribing to our Living with a Wild Heart channel, where you can learn more about ecotherapy tips and also natural living practices. Thanks.